The testimony of Abraham.
My name is Abraham, once called Abram of Ur. I was a man of comfort, living in a prosperous city surrounded by idols crafted by human hands. Life was predictable, stable, until I heard a voice. This was not the voice of one of those lifeless gods. No, this voice was different. It was alive. It spoke with authority, yet it carried a promise. Go from your country, your people, and your father's household to the land I will show you. I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. Leave everything I knew, abandon my family, my plans, my future. It sounded impossible, but something deep inside me knew. This was the voice of the one true God, and so I obeyed. Why? Not because I understood, but because I trusted. Faith begins with trust, even when the path ahead is unclear. Would you have gone? My wife Sarai, my nephew Lot, and I traveled to Canaan, the land God promised to show me. The journey wasn't easy. The days were long, and the nights were cold. At times, I wondered if I had made the right choice. But then God appeared to me again. He promised me descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky and the sand on the seashore, a land for my family to call home. I believed him. But there was one problem. Sarai and I had no children, and as the years passed, my faith was tested. The world laughed at the idea of an old man and a barren woman becoming the parents of nations. But I held on to his promise, or at least I tried to, because faith, it doesn't always come easy. I wish I could tell you that my faith never wavered, but I am human. In Egypt, fear overtook me. I told Pharaoh that Sarai was my sister to protect myself. It was a lie and it brought trouble. But even in my failure, God protected us. And then there was Hagar. Sarai and I were desperate for a child. She suggested I take her servant, Hagar, to bear a son. I listened, and Ishmael was born. But it wasn't God's plan. The tension, the jealousy, the pain, it became clear that human schemes cannot fulfill divine promises. Have you ever tried to take matters into your own hands, only to make things worse? I have. One night God spoke to me again. He made a covenant with me, a binding promise. He told me to look at the stars and count them if I could. So shall your descendants be, he said. And in that moment, I believed him. God changed my name from Abram to Abraham, meaning father of many. And Sarai? He called her Sarah, for she would be the mother of nations. I laughed at the idea, not out of disbelief, but out of wonder. Could it really be true? At 99 years old, could God still fulfill his promise? But with God, nothing is impossible. And then, it happened. Sarah gave birth to a son. We named him Isaac, which means laughter, for he brought joy to our old age. The promise had been fulfilled. God's word had come to pass. But just as I began to enjoy the life I had longed for, God gave me the greatest test of my faith, a test I could not understand. God spoke again. Take your son, your only son, whom you love, Isaac, and sacrifice him as a burnt offering on a mountain I will show you. My heart shattered. Isaac was the child of promise, the fulfillment of God's word. And now, he was asking me to lay him down. The journey to Mount Moriah was the longest of my life. With each step, I wrestled with the weight of God's command and the memory of his promises. Isaac looked at me and asked, "Father, where is the lamb for the offering?" I could barely speak. I told him, God will provide. But inside, my heart was breaking. Would you trust God that much? As I raised the knife, ready to obey, the angel of the Lord called out, "Do not harm the boy." I looked up and saw a ram caught in the thicket. God had provided. Isaac's life was spared. And in that moment, I named that place Yahweh Yireh, the Lord will provide. I learned that day that God is not just the giver of life. He is the sustainer. He fulfills his promises, even when they seem at risk. Faith isn't about understanding. It's about trusting the one who does. My life has been a journey of faith. Faith is not perfect. I failed many times. I doubted. I feared. But God's faithfulness never wavered. His timing is perfect. Decades of waiting for Isaac taught me that his promises are not bound by human clocks. Obedience often comes before understanding. Whether leaving my homeland, waiting for a son, or offering Isaac, I learned that clarity follows trust. And above all, God desires a relationship with us. He is not like the idols of my father's house. He is personal. He walks with us, speaks to us, and keeps his promises. As my life draws to a close, I look beyond the land of Canaan to a city with foundations, whose architect and builder is God. My story is not mine alone. It is the story of anyone who will trust the one true God. So if you hear his voice, calling you to leave what is familiar, to trust him in the unknown, know this: he is faithful, he is good, and he will provide. The question is, will you answer his call?
Abraham's journey shows us that faith is trusting God, even where you don't know where he is taking you. What might God be asking you to trust him with today?